Okay. So, one of these such members, and I'm fortunate to have 5 panelists here. One of them is Mr. Samuel Akrani, who is a 6-time Microsoft MVP, SCT, regional lead and founder of AfriLogic Solutions, where he builds digital platforms that bridge innovation, governance, and trust. He also leads FraudWall.ai, which uses AI to fight financial fraud and crafted climate, which applies IoT and data to climate transparency. Samuel is passionate about using technology to check compliance, into credibility, and to make innovation in Africa both ethical and scalable. Please a round of applause for him. Okay. Next we have Nana Adjoa Adobia-Karte, who is a lawyer and policy expert. She's co-founder and senior partner at Afrimore Advisors, where she leads the corporate and technology practice, advising fintechs, ISPs, and platforms on IP, data privacy, and compliance. She's a former company secretary of the National Communications Authority, where she was involved in high-level policy formation. And as CEO of Folklore Board, she secured UNESCO and Marvel partnership, boosted revenue by 60%. Her work was instrumental in the list of Ghana's take on the UNESCO Heritage List. She's a thought leader on tech and policy innovation. Please give her a round of applause.
I'm happy for the contingents. Very impressive.
Next, we have Mr. C.K. Bruce, CISA, C-Risk, CISM, COBIT, C-CISO, Prince 2 ISO 27001. He's basically a governance and risk compliance expert. And he has over 20 years experience in IT. His experience goes across information security management, implementation, IT auditing, governance, and IT project management. He's also lead trainer in areas of IT risk, information security, IT audit, and IT governance. He's also the founding member and past president of ISACA Accra chapter and the global professional body for IT auditors and information security professionals. He's a frequent speaker at conferences and seminars covering topics around information security, IT governance, risk, and audit. And he's also an accredited trainer with global leading professional certification training organizations. Board of the College of Education, University of Ghana. He's also a member of the advisory. He's also a member of the Committee of Cooperation between law enforcement agencies and the banking community. Please give him a round of applause. We also have Nanaya Owusu-Prempeh, Reverend Doctor. She likes to let you know that she's born on Thursday. Don't forget that. That's yeah. 67, so she's currently 50 years. At the Ofiase in the Ashanti region of Ghana. She speaks 9 languages, so she's a polyglot. I'm sure you didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
And she has been appointed by the President of Ghana to 2 boards. The first for the Ghana Domain Name Registry, GDNR, and also was a board member of the Encyclopedia Africana Project, Pan-African Initiative. She was also the chairman and CEO of, she's also the chairman and CEO of TENIFA Group, an ICT-centered organization. She also owns and hosts Ask Dr. Nanaya, a relationship and lifestyle video show, and 2 syndicated TV shows. And I'll have you know that she was also given a special award by former President Biden. Yes. Was it last year? 2 years ago.
Last year.
Yes. So that's a very powerful woman. Please give her a round of applause. And I'm sure most of you have seen about 3 different books by STEP Aid, IoT, and what else? Dive. There you go. This man, if you don't know him, you need to get to know him. He's an advocate. How many of you know him here? Let me see your hand up. Yeah, so I'm not wasting my time, please. When it comes to Internet of Things, STEM Aid, and so forth, and so he's a passionate advocate, down in the grassroots, moving it, going around. And so, please, help me welcome Joshua. So, who agrees with me that we have a very powerful panel? Who's ready to learn something new? Who's excited? Okay, so I'm going to give you just 1 minute. Let's take a 1 minute silence. And in that 1 minute, tell your friend you better be here. Pick up your WhatsApp. Send a message. Because you don't want to be mean. Tell your friend, you better be here right now. I'll do you that favor. Let's go. You better be here right now. Alex, please let me know when the 1 minute is up. So nobody says we are wicked. We have given everybody the opportunity to come and listen to wisdom. Hey, my brother, you want to keep the information to yourself. Okay, no problem. Yeah? Somebody may bless you because of opportunity that you give him. You don't have any friends. Or you've sent already. You are the second room. I'm talking to you. Yes. You don't have any friends. You won't send a message that you should come. I will find who your girlfriend is. I see you want to. And stingy with information and share. All right, so once again, welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Microphone.
Hello. My voice is louder. Hello. Can you hear me? Yes. Which one is louder? Hello. My voice is better.
It's also better for the recording.
Oh, hello. Hello, someone.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Beautiful. So let's start engaging. We want to talk about, let's talk about creating communities that allow our participants to access the right tools, the right stakeholders, and so forth and so on. And I'd like to start with Najwa, if you don't mind. Ladies first, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I better think of the past. Oh, somebody says yeah. Okay, right here. So Najwa, we have a number of people gathered here. They want to understand how to expand this growing Ghana, this amazing environment of digitalization and all the noise about the strides we've been making as a country when it comes to the space. But how does everybody take charge? How does everybody benefit? How does everybody know how to properly harness the right tools? So my first question to you, Nana, is in Africa's patchwork of regulations, how can startups engage policymakers early enough to shape, not just follow the rules from the game?
Okay, so as a rule of thumb, you should engage before regulations become enforcement. And how do you do that? The first, reading the room, is through social media. How are you making your voice known? How are you making your thoughts known? Become a thought leader in whichever field or aspect of the tech space you are passionate about, or because that's where you work or what you're doing focuses on. So that's the first thing. Second, map out the ecosystem. So who do you need to speak with? I see a lot of young people here. You may not be a CEO of a company, but you work in offices. You have projects that you are passionate about. So map out the ecosystem and figure out who the right decision maker for the field that affects you is. If you're a content creator, for instance, who's regulating that? Have you spoken with the National Media Commission? Have you spoken with the NCA when it comes to your data pricing? How are you engaging those who have an impact on what you are doing? So that's very important. And then lastly, show value, not just needs. A lot of us engage individuals, engage mentors, engage those who are in power because we need something. But that's not the way to go. You engage them because you also have something to contribute. You may know that you may need something, but don't just go saying what you need. start with a suggestion. You've looked at what they're doing and how you can help improve it. Or some interesting law that you came across in another jurisdiction that you think will be relevant to our ecosystem, or something that someone is doing somewhere, or an aspect of your work that is being done that you think can be done in another way. So find ways to ensure that what you are doing is impacting the right ecosystem, the right part of the ecosystem, and how you can ensure that it's done well.
Thank you very much, Nigel. It seems like you just gave us a quick 2-minute workshop on relationship building and how it ties into even the space. And so we have to be a lot more intentional, even though we have social media and things like that to get our word out. We have to be very intentional, very strategic, regardless of our position in doing so. For those of you who just joined us, we are the Texonnect panel at GDIW, Catalyzing for Change. And today we are cutting past the buzzwords and getting practical, who to connect with, which tools to use, and how to run the right audiences. No fluff, just outcomes. Let's move on to the next person, Samuel Adrani. Quick one to you. What frameworks help identify partners who not only accelerate growth, but also strengthen compliance and accountability?
Thank you, Papa, for that question. And once again, good afternoon to you all. So in my experience, running Afrologic Solutions, Crafted Climate, Fraud Wall, working with Microsoft startups and all that, I have observed that the best partner is not the one that funds you to grow, but is the one that also protects your credibility, right? In defining the framework.
Not the one who funds you to grow.
Yeah, but the one that protects your credibility as well.
Just keeps loving you right now. That's all.
So primarily, we use a framework we call the P cube, right? So first of all, it's the purpose fit. We talk about the process fit and then the proof of accountability. So I'll take them quickly. So the purpose fit is finding a partner, that understands the entire ecosystem. So I'll give you an example. If you take Crafted Climate, which is one of our sustainability projects that we're doing, if we're looking for a partner, we're not just looking for a partner that just cares about carbon metrics, right? But one that is interested in the climate transparency, like totally involved in that whole process, right? So that's the first one, which is the purpose fit. So the first P. The second P is the process fit, right? And I'll use an example of Fraud Wall. Before we onboard or integrate into any systems, we assess, the readiness and also data handling and stuff of that particular agency or partner we're onboarding. For example, are you ISO 27001 certified? What are you doing with GDPR? What are what other industrial or process certifications do you have before we partner with you on that? And the final one that is process accountability, right? And my fellow colleague talked about understanding or working with the regulators or people in the space you're dealing with. How are you, both the regulator and you as the provider or as a startup, right? How are you sharing transparency in terms of the regulator seeing what you're doing and you also kind of like aligning to that regulation that the agency is providing? I want to quickly end to say that one thing you should understand is that the right partner for you and the frameworks to use is not just to accelerate your growth, right? But one that accelerates also your accountability. That's the only way you can grow. And using the PQ, framework, it will help you establish a very strong partnership and then grow as a startup.
Thank you very much. So the P, what?
PQ, yes.
PQ.
Yes.
I felt like I was hearing PPU.
No, PQ. So it's PPP. There's a process fit.
So the PQ.
PQ, yes.
PPP.
Yes, PPP. So it's a process fit, right? The purpose fit and the proof of accountability.
Thank you very much. Very good concepts. All right, let's move to you, Reverend Amaya. When building partnerships, and I know you've built many over your years in the industry, how can founders balance the excitement of innovation with the discipline of due diligence and governance?
I have one here.
Oh, there's one there.
Yeah. Oh, hello. Okay. Hi. Thank you very much, Papa. Well, good afternoon, everyone. So before I even answer that, I want to share my personal experience of partnership when I happened to be the first woman to start an internet company in Ghana in 1999. Won't you clap? Yeah, I'm not the first person. You clap for the person. So at a point, Papa, I saw a gentleman with so much intelligence. So I invited him to my office, and I was traveling to the US. I said, I want you to partner me as a consultant and take over while I'm gone. Do you know that every 2 a.m., this gentleman will go in front of my office and pour stuff in front of my door because he wants to paralyze me so he takes over the business. So it's the cleaners who called me in the US. Madam, the same way they're doing, it's very difficult, but we have to say it. How well do you know this man? Bottom line, every time we come to clean the office, and it was a big building, in front of your door, we see ashes, we see oil, we see water. So this is just to tell you that in Africa, partnerships is a risk, highly risky, including the loss of your life. Because he told my secretary, you make sure I'm paralyzed. And so for me as an entrepreneur, it didn't put any fear in me because of the faith that I had. But if it were somebody else, it will scare the person and partnership will be out of their mind. But I'm still open for partnership because partnership is 2 heads are always what? Better than one. And the scripture says one will pull down 1,000, 2 will pull down how many? 10,000, not 2,000. So there's power in unity. So partnership is great. But considering our area, our location, our culture, and our traditions, it becomes highly risky. But adding governance, due diligence, and for now, because of innovation, things have become easier. What is due diligence? That is the process of investigating something to the roots, especially when you want to put a stake in it, when you want to invest in it. You must do vigorous investigation. And that is what we call the due diligence. It's a process. And then when you talk about governance, governance is the structure, the framework that guides you so that you don't do illegal due diligence. You don't do things that you're not supposed to. So the combination of due diligence and governance is supposed to give you what you are expecting to see, to identify, to encourage you to invest. And right now with innovation, AI is helping us, making things so easy. You put somebody's name. Have you Googled your name before? Yes. Google your name right now and see what you can. You can Google my name, Nanaya Owusu-Prempeh. You will see over 20,000 more, 100,000 kinds of information about me. But if you Google your name, maybe you can't find anything because you haven't activated that. So AI right now is providing that lapse for people who don't have anything on the internet. Your name alone, AI will try and find something to say about you. So it's making the due diligence work a bit more easier, though not 100% reliable, but a bit more easier. So I believe that the era that we are in, with the combination of innovation, due diligence, good governance, makes things just easier and better. Though security becomes a risk, because the more you open yourself to AI and to the internet, the more risk you are bringing on yourself. So we have to have a combination, and that is where convergence comes in. But my time is up, so I'll stop here.
Thank you very much. So definitely partner, but be aware of African technology. That's and yeah.
Oh, scary.
Go to church. We'll All right.
Preach on. Preach on.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
Joshua, if every innovator here could take one step forward towards governance as a superpower, what would it be? Policy literacy, ethical tech design, or public transparency?
Good afternoon, everyone. I will go with policy literacy and not ethical design or the other.
Public transparency.
Public transparency, because as an innovator, you have a lot of assumptions that you're not sure you have to test and validate. So if you want to constrain your design to ethical, you might miss a lot of innovation. Because ethical is defined by what policy and structures and policies that already exist. However, if you're dealing with new technologies which do not have this framework, these structures, how do you define ethical in that context, right? When you're designing a solution. So I think public policy literacy is where I think will be a superpower for innovators. Reason being that everything we're going to build, they have to be revolving around a policy. And most of the times, policies are for governments to lead and pass through parliaments, and they are not with them. The rest is up to private sectors, individuals, innovators to pick what is there, where the nation wants to go, what opportunities exist within the policy framework, and how young people will take advantage of that. And I see a lot happening, especially in our space, where we have a lot of policies. Even recently, the Ministry of Communication, Digital Technologies and Innovation had shared about 14 policies. How many of you here have gone through any of them? Probably might not even heard of them. Very few.
Well, somebody raised their hand.
Yeah,
Please give them a round of applause.
So you see where the big issue is.
And then the rest are innovative. Without knowing the rules.
The ministry wants to distract our whole digital ecosystem. And we're here, young innovators, we have no idea about it. So that's why I think I would go with the policy literacy, because if you don't know what is already there, then you don't know what to build, how to build, when to build, who to build for. Because if you go against the policy, ignorance of the law is not an excuse for the company. So that's why I think policy literacy is what I think would be a proper for.
That's why I'm the final I have my private lawyer, so that if any try to come for us, can CK,
Present.
what frameworks helps not only to accelerate growth, but also strengthen compliance and accountability?
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you so much, Papa. Perhaps accountability is one of the critical disciplines that we all need to ensure that we are satisfying. You know, we need to be accountable to our investors, accountable to our employees, accountable to the states, and maybe most importantly, accountable to ourselves. Okay. Now, in putting in a framework in your organization, you know, you need to first look at your people, structure, and processes. So you need to ensure that you are satisfying these three requirements. Okay, it's important to have the right structure in place, to have the right governance structure in place, have a board. Okay, I know a lot of innovators think that, oh, we are starting small, so we don't need a board. Okay. And perhaps sometimes that's the biggest mistake that an innovator can make. Okay, you need that oversight. You need that extra advice. You know, giving you direction in what you're doing. Okay, sometimes we feel that as innovators, oh, you know, what we want to do is what we want to do. Okay. We need to have that control so that we can sure that we are actually going on the right direction, okay? Innovators can be, can go off on a tangent sometimes, because they are so excited about the innovation that they are creating, okay? So that governance structure does a lot in keeping you on the straight and narrow and ensuring that, what you are developing can actually bring profit. Because at the end of the day, any innovation that we are developing to send to market, okay, to make some money out of it, okay, to bring profit to any investor that we may have, okay. So these are very, very, important structures that would, ensure that we are doing things in the right and proper way.
Thank you very much, CK. So it's right to get the structure right, get the people right, get the processes right, strategy from the beginning so that you can seamlessly go to market. CK, so let me follow up with this question. How do you ensure you're meeting the right people and using the right tools to create the right change?
Well, maybe the first one is, come into contact with Texonnect. Then you'll definitely be reaching the right people. But, networking, seriously, I cannot underestimate networking. You need to, there's a lot of negativity around, whom you know. I need to know somebody before anything happens. Unfortunately, it's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
But knowing that somebody is not out of your control, that is what you need to learn. It is not out of your control. So sometimes you say that, I need to know these people. But you can't know these people. What's stopping you from knowing these people? Okay? Perhaps the way you present yourself is key. Okay? The way you dress, attending the right programs is also key. And, having the ability to very quickly articulate your innovation or your idea is also key. Okay, there's this what we call the elevator talk. So even if you meet President Mahama in an elevator and you are going to the 6th floor, what can you say in those 1 minute that would make our president say that, come and see me tomorrow? And those are the key things that we need to prepare as individuals to make sure that we are building our network. Okay? So that talk about I don't know anybody, then unfortunately it is you who's not making the effort. Okay? Now, perhaps in terms of social media, LinkedIn is fantastic. How many of you here are on LinkedIn? Okay, quite a number of hands were down. Okay, quite a number of hands were down. So those of you with your hands down, it means that you don't know anything about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a professional network, and you can meet so many people, and it gives you the opportunity to have more time on an elevator pitch. Okay, I mean, you can send messages. If they read, they will read. If they don't read, well, you can still try. Okay, so LinkedIn, for any innovator, for any professional, for me, is critical. It's very important. So I hope those of you with your hands down, as soon as you leave here, you go to LinkedIn and start creating your profile and begin to make use of that social network. Thank you, Papa.
Thank you very much, CK. And I'm actually feeling very, being around the process, and I'm actually feeling very inspired right now. So Alex, that's what we're going to do. Those on LinkedIn, actually just have a LinkedIn zone. Now, if you need to, your profile needs to be catchy and tell a story that attracts engagement. And that's the type of training that we do for some companies. So, and then those who don't have LinkedIn, definitely. For those of you who are interested, see Alex. We charge you something small, nothing close to what we typically charge, just to get you. This is a quick 1 to 2 hours workshop to enhance your, and you can actually use tools that you already use, like ChatGPT and so forth, to tell a better story. Some of you are not even selling yourselves work, right? And you'll be amazed the level of engagement and how it will change. CK, it's really interesting to talk about networking, because just today, in this same place, I met a friend of mine, we were talking about opportunities, and she mentioned the job she applied for. When she mentioned the job and mentioned the title of the job, somebody else started laughing. And she hadn't even thought about even running it by me. Apparently, it's a company, one of my clients. So I picked up a phone, called the clients, and tried to find out why did this person not get the job. The higher level person said, we'll get back to me. We went to investigate, they came back. The information they gave me, it's not your traditional information they will give you if you apply. Of course, they gave the person the typical, sorry, you don't fit, blah, blah, blah. But because of my relationship with them, they went into the nitty-gritty. So I called the person back. I said, would you like some feedback? The person said yes. And then I broke it down, which question, what her answer was, and what it could have been. And that is a learning opportunity for 2 other opportunities that I gave her just from the same place. So, if you're not managing your relationships, even with your own brother to be staying in the same house with you, and have an opportunity, a big opportunity for you, and it will pass you back 3 years, what other people are getting from them? So let's be more intentional about it. So thank you so much for that, CK. Joshua, very quickly, since CK mentioned Texonnect, let me make this more specific. What role can Texonnect, and for those of you who came late, Texonnect is the community that's putting this session together. It's an amazing community of decision makers that are driving the tech change in Africa. So what role can Texonnect play in helping innovators navigate compliance? It helps by building a governance-ready ecosystem of knowledge hub.
Well, I think I will share from my personal experience being a member. I think one of the benefits I'm enjoying is the circle of influence. When you end up being a group of industry players and you are a young innovator, looking up to all of them, you get to hang out with them, during the meetups and all that. For me, it's inspiring that you're in the right cycle of network, as CK mentioned about network. And this is a powerful, close network of people who believe in the same thing, have a direction they're all going. So it influences you in what you do. Then when we come to the side of policy and compliance, I think as an innovator, there's a lot of things you are trying to figure out that you might not want to deal with governments. For example, if you have a problem you want to address, the solution you're building, you're not thinking from day one about getting the GRA and filing your taxes when you don't have a customer making money. But this is very critical, as CK mentioned about structures. So they need that. But it's difficult as an innovator to do all that which has nothing to do with your innovation at the inception. So we tend to focus a lot of our energy trying to find a perfect solution that fits the markets, getting customers to pay before we think about registration, about compliances we need to meet, which will be too late when we talk about ethical design. So I think as Texonnect, very powerful for us. You can influence policies. Example is the Ghana Startup Bill. And I see a number of the Texonnectors influencing that. They understand the startup ecosystem, they understand the challenges innovators go through, they also understand the government agencies, and they understand the bureaucracy that they have to go through to get some of this thing done. And I believe that they can then push and influence policies that help both the innovators to be able to accelerate faster. Typical example also happened with Bank of Ghana when it came to fintech. Before we had a fintech department with the sandbox and all the innovation happening, it was difficult for startup to raise that minimum capital to get the licenses you're going to print it. That means you can't have something that's going to this space, we don't have enough money. How do you get the money if you don't have a solution in customers? And this was a very big bottleneck. So that innovation came in to create what we call a sandbox for innovators to play around, make their mistakes, learn, understand the sectors, build your business. We get to a level where we think you're ready to get the license, then you can get the license to be able to operate. So I think this should be able to be applied to a lot of things in the startup value chain. One, we can look at intellectual property. It's very, very difficult to encourage global innovation. However, after you do that as a young person, you might not have the money to scale up. You go pitch to some big man, and then the big man has money, he's selling them. How do you protect the effort of the innovation? And I think again, Texonnect can sell that. Secondly, if you're a young startup with the best or good innovation, trying to find markets, you can't talk to that big company who you think is your customer, and you're too young, they won't mind you. But if you have a connector who have influence, know somebody, network again, they can hold your hands and say, this is my guy, please try your solution. That opportunity for them to try a solution could be a breakthrough. So I think when it comes to market influence, policy influence, structural influence, even board of directors, a lot of startups don't think about board of directors because they think they can't get that big man to advise them. They don't even have that friendship and friendliness to even ask them to be on the board. And even if they should do, would they accept if they don't know them very well? Again, I think Texonnect can set up some of the sandboxes for innovators to not struggle. And I think together we can be able to achieve innovation in Ghana.
Thank you very much. Alex, please note, you are supposed to be looking for coaches, mentors, and sponsors for new innovators.
The money.
Exactly. So, over to you, Dr. Nanaida. As digital collaboration deepens, what compliance risks should African startups anticipate? Compliance risks will be beyond the African technology. Data privacy, cross-border IP, cybersecurity, or what else?
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Cybersecurity is now the biggest kid on the block. I recently heard on the news about the amendment bill that is being spoken about. We already have an existing act, the Cybersecurity Act 2020, Act 1038. And now there's a bill being discussed at Parliament, which, if approved, will be an amendment to the bill, to the act. And that is one that is going to give more power to cybersecurity authority to come into your home, go into your devices, push you on the side, go into your devices, check your emails, check your contacts, check everything with or without any authorization. Isn't it scary? So this is where we are as a nation, and we have confidence in our legislators. That's why they are there. So we are hoping that the best decision will be made. But the authority is giving guidelines. The act is supposed to provide a framework that will support the operatives, which are us. Every day we are dealing with our brothers and sisters from Niger. Our brothers and sisters from Niger want to be Ghanaians now. They want to have Ghanaian passport because it gives them ease of traveling. So we have issues to tackle as a nation, and as a people, we have to be each one another's keeper. I like the fact that Papa mentioned hallelujah. There's a quote in the Bible, Proverbs chapter 11, verse 14. It says, in the multitude of counsel, there is safety. And that is adding to the point where CK mentioned about networking. And Joshua said the same thing. Everyone needs someone. And you can have everything you have, but there may be somebody that can open a door for you. And you have money, but you cannot open that door. Maybe you need a prayer that Olin and I can pray for you. That has nothing to do with your money. So I'll bring the word humility as you are going. How many ladies here are into IT? If you're a lady here in IT, lift up your hand. When we finish, come and see me. There is a group that I want to introduce you to, and it will expand you. I know that you want to be bigger than big. Yeah, you have to dream big. But are you prepared for the road? The caricatures you see on the road, the scary things, the hardships, especially with the ladies. We have to, right now, we have to thank God for Ghana, because Ghana is growing in IT. We are growing in health. We are growing in education. I love the STEM. When we're talking about data protection, and we, in Ghana here, we are ahead of about 90% of African countries when it comes to evolution in ICT, evolution in digitalization. Ghana is way up there. But I want you to position yourself as an innovator, as someone who will be creating more than enjoying what somebody has created. And as you complete your education, are you one who is waiting for government to hand you a job? Or you are one who is already designing, like Joshua, designing to create, innovate, and be a startup? I pray that monies will come. Oh, you didn't hear me? I know you love that one. I pray that monies will come. And then when the monies come, one person will not sit on it. May the bottom bend. When they sit on it, may the bottom bend. So they will release the money to you. Because I see some Dangotes and some Madams in this house. I see some special eyes and some despites and some Arnak, Quay. Someone named Arnak. So may God help you so that your dreams will come to pass. Amen. And those of you who don't have dreams, may God give you dreams.
This is our 40 years parties in the future. Now I know the song. Count on me, brother, if you need a friend.
Amen.
We all need somebody
To lean
on. Remember that. Mr. Brandon, how do we keep Revelations from becoming a bottleneck? Revelation is important, but how do we keep it from becoming a bottleneck? Using digital tools to simplify reporting, licensing, or accountability.
Thank you for the question. Sorry guys, I'm not used to sitting in a chair when I'm delivering presentations. I hate panels that I have to sit, but I think we'll do this. Joshua and Mami touched on a lot of things that we have actually experienced when it comes to bottlenecks and regulations, right? But before I try to answer that question, scanning through the room, I see a lot of young innovators and young business people. There is a key concern, that I think we need to address, that I feel, if not done, even the conversations of making how does regulation become bottlenecks will be, in my opinion, useless. In the sense that, are they even aware of the regulations? That's one. Because, when Joshua was saying this whole startup bill, we've been fighting about, cybersecurity bill, how many of them even know about these regulations, right? And it's two things for me. The first is, as innovators, sometimes you get lost in just building and innovating, right? Whether we like it or yes, the regulations are there to help us to make sure that we are working within the confines of the law, the rules, right? So, first of all, you don't just innovate in isolation, right? And that's why groups like Texonnect and other innovative groups are around. The question is, in the area where you are innovating, do you belong to any community, any group that drives the conversation around what you are innovating? Most times it's not happening. I mean, we've had this conversation in some of our meetings that even there are periods where, and I'm sure Joshua also attests to it, there are times that we are even running free workshops, we're running free events, and young people don't turn up. They don't show up, right? Meanwhile, you put us in the same experience in Nigeria. The halls are packed and full, and they don't want us to come back. So there is, I don't know if it's a Ghanaian thing, but it's something we need to address. And if you want to be successful, as Mami is saying, Dangote and the rest didn't just become what they are today. They worked at it. They connected to the right networks, right? So we need to make sure we're getting people in the right spaces. Coming back to the conversation of not making regulation become a bottleneck. One of my profound statements is that regulations become a bottleneck if it is treated only as paperwork instead of becoming an innovation layer. And I'll explain why. I talk about something, compliance by design, right? That if we look at innovation as a way to drive, a regulation as a way to drive innovation, right? It will not be seen as a strict rule to what we are doing. And I appreciate that Joshua mentioned the Bank of Ghana sandbox. I'll give you an example. 10 years ago, we had wanted to develop a system that combined your regular spending and all that and converting it to your consumer credit worthiness and some other innovative stuff, because we used to live in the US and we had seen how that worked. When we came down to try to implement it, we had two issues. Number one, at that time, there wasn't a lot of payment gateways as you have today. So you had to go to MTN directly to negotiate the payment. You had to go to Tigo and the rest. Now, when we went to MTN, we were told that their APIs and systems and regulation at that time could not do multiple distribution. Because we didn't want to hold funds. We just wanted to do dynamic settlement, right? And we're like, no, you have to be a money collecting agency. You needed that minimum capital to be able to do it. This was 10 years ago. Wow. So literally, the dream died. We had to abandon it because we were trying to bring something innovative. But thank God for the sandbox and stuff like that, it changed. So for me, regulation will become a bottleneck if it is not helping innovation. And what we can do is the best of building it, using it as a design principle. So right from beginning, before you innovate, understand what the regulation is and build it digitally into your system. And also, let's co-create with the regulators. So, for example, if you are in, let's say, a space regulated by data protection, work with them, come up with a sandbox. And that is where Texonnect can also facilitate and push these policies to make sure that we have a lot of sandbox to help innovators. And my last word is that make sure you are participating or joining groups or spaces that would help facilitate what you're working on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And, this reminds me of our call conversation yesterday around 9 p.m. when we were talking about the deadline to the policies that were reviewed in Texonnect. And I think one of the key things that came up was beyond meeting the requirements of the outreach from the ministry, we also have to identify what is contextual, what is not, what works, what can be implemented, and have a separate conversation around it. And I think part of that conversation is also making sure that even the people that we're trying to make sure we're protecting actually appreciate what is going on in a part of the conversation. And there's a lot of background also going in, so great for raising that. Then very quickly, what red flags have you seen when poor governance or unclear ownership structures derailed otherwise prudent corporations?
Okay, so with regards to this, now looking at the demographic, I'm going to take us back a bit. So with you, it is about when you are entering into these competitions for funding. and you are participating in an incubator or something like that. What you need to understand is that you need guidance as to especially what happens when you win the competition. How is your idea being protected? How are you ensuring that the earnings, or if you are going to incorporate an institution, an entity, the shareholding structure is in your favor? The decision-making power. Sometimes you can sign an agreement where you own 80% of the company, but you have the right to appoint one director. The other shareholder has the right to appoint one shareholder and one director. And for decision-making purposes, it's one person, one vote. One individual, one vote. And then there can be deadlocks. How are you ensuring that you protect yourself? So it's very important when you are setting up a company, especially for the incubators. And we do it on a pro bono basis actually, that we've been reviewing some of the ALX agreements. ALX does well though. I see someone in a t-shirt, and I was a speaker at one of your events. The thing is, make sure that instead of chasing the money, or even though you're chasing the money, you're also protecting yourself in the medium term and in the long term. And get local mentors. You don't need Mark Zuckerberg to be your mentor before you know you have arrived. Sometimes it's that woman who goes to the market, right? She's been selling things for over 20 years. She's taken all her children to university. She owns properties scattered all over Ghana. She is doing well. How do you tap into that business acumen? Learn from her. You have individuals in your churches who are doing very well. You don't need the person who is your mentor to be on TV. When it comes to LinkedIn, using LinkedIn, the world is your oyster. There are individuals who are in spaces in which you are. Reach out to them, send a message. I do that. And I've gotten just one rejection. The rest, I've met them. I've met individuals, high net worth individuals from Meta, from Microsoft, you name it, from Google, because I'm in the tech space. What are you doing to also brand yourself as a person in the industry you want to be branded in? When you go to my LinkedIn, Nanajwa Adobiakate, almost everything is about tech. Even if I'm sharing words of wisdom, in the end, I come back to tech. Or you see something, at least every 3 days, every 4 days, there's something. I'm speaking somewhere on tech and the likes. So that's how you make sure that you brand yourself, or there's thought leadership in a space in which you are comfortable. And when you reach out to the individual, when they go to your page, and they do, because I met the head of legal for Microsoft. And when I spoke with him, we're like, oh, I see that you're in tech. I was like, wow, okay, you had time to look at my profile. And this is what we're talking about. So ensure that you pick a niche and you stick with it, and brand consciously and be intentional about branding yourself. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, we're almost out of time, so I'll take one question. One question from the room. If not, we'll go ahead and wrap up. Yes, okay, so that one question. I'll give the lady the option. I have to say, I've been a bit disappointed. Can anybody guess what? Yes, please go ahead. Not that one. Now I'm thinking. You should have thought about it before. I'll tell you why I'm disappointed. I know Gen Z's like using their phones, and I've been watching those who use their phones to take notes. But I can tell you that there are a lot of people in the shoe who are not taking notes. And unfortunately, like it always happens, one of them is going to approach and say, you said, and then they'll say something we totally did not see. Which will probably turn me off and not even want to give them a number when we ask for it. You see, when you find yourself in an opportunity like this, with people share like this, very, almost inaccessible because of the pressure on them. The least you can do is make sure that everything that they are offering and saying, they are noting it down. I had quite an embarrassing situation recently where somebody was actually engaging me for a while, you know, and talking about this project, but like eventually the last thing was sending it and said, okay, so should I meet you at the school? And I said, what school? He says, oh, I thought you were at Ghana Telecom. No relation. And so somebody that had already started making noise about, now I need to make a story fair because it was so embarrassing, right? So please take time to note the things that you hear. I was even here taking notes. Can you imagine? Madam, please, your question. Oh,
microphone here.
I'm taking 2 more minutes because of course you 2 minutes.
Talking of connection, Mr. Siki, you mentioned that you have to have an innovation before you talk to someone. So my question is that now if you have an actual innovation before you connect with someone who you think is a potential employer or someone you know that this person can open a door for you. Now so you have an innovation and before you talk to someone, how can you really put yourself in a particular position if you do not have or something to be research, or you're just a person going to university without like just learning, but you don't really know how to put yourself together to talk to someone you know that can really be.
I think Nanaya said something critical. She said those who don't have dreams, find dreams.
May
Okay.
God give you dreams.
May God give you dreams. You must have a dream, okay? If you don't have a dream, then obviously, what are you going to talk to me about? That's your innovation. That is something that you want to do, okay? That's critical, okay? Everything starts with a dream. Everything, even here, I dream a lot. You know, I'm still planning things. Okay, I mean, when I'm in the little room, you know, when I'm settled, I think a lot, then, but you see, so as I asked you, if you found yourself in an elevator with Bill Gates, what are you going to say to him? You have 1 minute. That's the elevator pitch. What are you going to say to him? So you need to, in fact, putting yourself together, it is you. You really need